So in this video, we'll be unboxing the MyndHub, which many of you will have received, and going through first setup and a basic user guide on how to get started with your MyndHub. So let's start by looking at what's inside the box. Right, so you've got your MyndHub user guide, which we'll go through in a minute. You have your MyndHub unit, fresh from the factory. Inside the box, you've got your power supply and charger cable. Now, some of you will also have bought the MyndHub bundle, which has the MyndBand inside the box as well. For those of you familiar, this is the MyndBand headset, and the system is also compatible with the NeuroSky MindWave Mobile 2 headset. We'll go through those in a moment. Let's put away the box, plug it in, and show you how to get started. So the first thing to do is to get your user guide and make sure you familiarize yourself with it. On the inside page, you have all your getting started information, which has your Wi-Fi information and how to connect your MyndBand or NeuroSky headset. And then inside, you have a complete breakdown of all of the inputs, outputs, and advanced features on the MyndHub. I do recommend strongly that you familiarize yourself with this. And then what I'll do is I'll run you through the rest of the setup. So let's get our MyndHubs, plug them in, and show you how to get started. So your MyndHub comes with the power supply, which goes in on the side here. So what you want to do is get your connector, plug it in, and your MyndHub screen will come to life. Now, the first thing you need to do when you set up your MyndHub is the Wi-Fi. You don't actually need the Wi-Fi unless you have multiple MyndHubs and are planning on networking them. And you can skip the Wi-Fi setup if you don't want to go through that. And to do that, what you want to do is, if you look at the back of your MyndHub, this switch here is your master slave switch. If you flick that switch once, you're able to skip the Wi-Fi setup. And what I will do is create a separate video in which I'll guide you through the Wi-Fi setup. But for now, I wanted to get you into the system and show you how it all works. So this is your initial display. As you can see, we are currently in test mode. This allows me to put in data and just show you everything without worrying about the headset. So on your display, you have 4 sets of numbers. Here you will see your real-time attention once your headset's connected. And this number here will be your real-time meditation. This is your lower threshold, and this is your upper threshold, and I'll explain thresholds to you in a moment. And then down here, you've effectively just got the status of your various different switch configurations, which I'll run you through in a minute. So the first thing we'll do is connect our headsets and get some real-time data going through into the system. So as you can see, we're currently in test mode. In order to get ourselves into live mode, we need to flick the live test switch, which is on the back. You can see it in your user guide. And if you watch right here, as I flick that, it goes into live mode. Now, if it doesn't ask me to connect the headset, it means we're currently in the slave mode. At the back, we flick the slave master switch, and instantly we're asked to connect our headset. Now, there is no pairing required whatsoever. All you need to do is turn on your MyndPlay device by holding the power down for 5 seconds. It's flashing blue, and within 5 to 10 seconds, there you go, the headset is now connected. If you're not wearing your headset, you'll get a message telling you you need to check your MyndBand connection, and this just means you need to put your MyndBand on your head now so that you can start streaming the live data. Let's do that and see how we go. Right, so now that we've got our headset connected, we've passed the Wi-Fi setup, we are now ready to go and plug and play with our existing devices or whatever we have around. So here I've got a very simple fan, USB plug, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this just to explain to you how to use the configurations to make it work the way you want. So for example, if I want to power this fan with my focus on my display, I'm going to use the switch right here, which is our focus and calm switch. If you look at the display, if we flick that switch, we go from calm to focus and focus to calm, which is basically saying which one of these 2 dials is our major input now, which one of these is our controller. So I'm going to start with calm because we want to do meditation. And now what we're going to do, the second switch, is choose how we want it to work. So do I want the fan to slow down and speed up as I go further into my state of meditation, or do I want it to be on and off like a switch? So at the moment, I've got it in switch mode, but if I flick that down, it will go into scale mode, which will give me scaled power. And then the last one is open or closed. Now this allows us to choose whether we want the fan to be on until we hit our target threshold, or do we want it to be off until we hit our target threshold. So it allows you to have complete control over the way that the system works without having to use any different settings. Just by the flick of a switch, you can completely change the way the circuit works. And then these two dials are the most important in terms of the front, because these allow us to set our various different target ranges. If you're a beginner, you might want to start with lower targets. So what we'll do is we'll set our upper target to 100, which basically means the higher end of where we want our target to be. And we'll set our lower target to, say, 60. Right, 64. Now, as soon as my meditation goes above 64, you'll notice the fan will come on. And when I drop below 64, you'll notice the fan will go off. So as you can see, we've got calm as our controller, which means the blue numbers are my current input. 64 is my target, which means if I hit 64, the fan will come on. If I'm below 64, the fan will stay off. As I go above 64, the fan comes on. As I go below 64, the fan turns off. Very, very simple. If I want the fan to be on until I hit my target, all I have to do is flick the switch from open to close, and now it completely reverses it. So the fan is off when I'm above 64 and only comes on when I'm below 64. So that could be used as a way of alerting me that I'm out of my meditation zone. But that is essentially the way that it works with a simple product like a USB fan. Now, if I was to plug in a USB light, I could do exactly the same thing. I could use it to monitor distractions, or I can use it to train. If I now flick this switch here, I'm now controlling the fan with the power of my focus. So the blue numbers are irrelevant. I'm focusing only on the orange numbers. If I now flick that off, the fan will turn off until I'm able to focus above 64. Now, of course, with anything, the whole point of the system is to give you adjustable targets. You can drop the target down if you want to, say, around 50, or a more easier target around 42, 39, and then as soon as you're above that target, your fan comes on, and using that neurofeedback loop allows your brain to automatically learn when you are above or below your target zone. In scale mode, you're able to speed up and slow down the fan with your meditation rather than just having a binary on and off. You can also use this with a light to make it brighter or dimmer, or any other device that has effectively a dimmer or slider function or control within it. So now let me run you through the various different outputs on the back and all the different fun things that you can do with your MyndHub. Now that we're familiar with the display and the front controls, let me run you through the different outputs on the back, and this is where it gets really exciting. So, on the back of your MyndHub, you have effectively 4 different outputs, 2 switches and a dial. You're already familiar with this switch here, which is the master slave switch. So the effective function of the master slave switch is most of you will always be using your device as a master. However, if you have more than one MyndHub, you can network them. So you make one master, the other device is a slave. They can all work off the same headset and be controlling lots of different objects and devices with completely different settings and configurations. So it allows you to control an entire room of gadgets with just one mind. The next switch that you have here is your live or test. Live is your main working mode. The reason we put the test mode down is if you're building gadgets or creating your own gadgets, which is what we're hoping you're going to be doing with the MyndHub, you might want to test it and be able to hit various thresholds without having to use the headset. In that case, you can use this dial on here in test mode to create dummy data to test your various different creations and contraptions and devices and gadgets without having to have the headset on. So this is your test data dial, this is your test and live switch, this is your master slave switch. Now we move on to the outputs. The first output you have is a USB, what we were using just now for the fan. You can plug in your phone and charge it with your Mind, or just about any other USB gadget that exists, including USB speakers. The USB can be used with switch or scale, so you can use it as a dimmer or as a switch with the Mind. It can be used in open or closed mode, so you can choose the way you want the circuit to run, and can be used with just about any USB 2.0 or 3.0 gadget. The next output is your relay output. Now this one's incredibly important to not mix up with this one, which is your 12-volt power supply output. This output essentially allows you to build a circuit with the MyndHub using the MyndHub as a switch controller. It also allows you to plug in wireless relays or convert any push button switch device to become mind controlled with a little bit of adjustment and a little bit of work, which I'll run you through in a bit. This output here is a 12-volt power supply. Essentially allows you to plug in any electrical component and use the MyndHub as its core power source.
Now, some
Obviously,
of you might
with
be
the
wondering
relay,
how you
you're
will
not
plug
putting
an
in any
AC,
power, so you will require an
110
external
volt
power
or 220
supply
volt device,
or battery
and
for
that's
that.
done with one of these. And this you can buy from our website, or some of you will have it already when you've got the Brainwave Starter Kit. What you're going to do is plug this in into your 12-volt output, making sure you get your red and your black in the right way. And then in here you plug in your power inverter, which some of you will have got, but any power inverter will do. And now you can plug essentially any electrical appliance directly into the power inverter and have that powered by your mind. So for example, in the meditation fountain, I plugged in an off-the-shelf meditation fountain, and it would effectively come on and allow the water to flow when I'm in my target range and stop. And the whole purpose is to give you just another way to experience your neurofeedback and another way to meditate using haptic rather than just your traditional screen-based neurofeedback solutions. The third output here is your reverse polarity output. So this allows you to, for example, plug in an actuator or a motor and make it go forwards or backwards, up and down, left and right by giving you plus 12 volts, 0 volts or minus 12 volts. This is also the output that we use to build the Mind meditation chair, which allows you to go up as you meditate and come down as you lose your meditation. But you can make it go up, down, left, right, forward or back. It's completely up to you. I think that's the basics of the MyndHub covered. I hope you have enough knowledge and skills now to be able to get started, start plug and playing and creating your own devices. I will make more advanced videos in which I'll go into much more detail on the various different products we've created and how you can create your own. Also happy to answer any questions that you have. Please leave them in the comments or email us directly. Good luck with your MyndHub and let us know how you think.